What's up, guys? Welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music and how it affects my life. And today, it's a crossover. Me and AJ from the Roads We Travel podcast get together again, man. Catch up on life, talk about what's going on for each one of us, what's new, what's bad, what's good, what's indifferent. And after that, we get into, movies and music and stuff like that, or music and movies rather. So, sit back, relax, enjoy this show, man. It's always a great pleasure having AJ on, man. Like I said, AJ is one of those guys that just has been supporting me ever since we linked up, man, and it's been a great vibe ever since, man. So I truly love and respect AJ, man, like a brother, and in the podcasting world. So if you haven't checked out AJ's podcast, the Roads We Traveled podcast, man, go check it out, man. I always post my little commercial after we have this little discussion here, man. But he truly is a great podcast, man, and he talks about some real life shit that just we all can relate to right now. But as usual, man, if you'd like to be a guest on my show or you have a show idea, hit me up on Facebook and Instagram, Blue Presents a Podcast, or on Twitter at Podcast of Blue, man. I'd really love it if you let me know, what do you think I'm doing good? What do you think I'm doing bad? I have been a little spotty with my podcasting recently. Life is going the way that it's going, man. But, I'm hoping that in the next few weeks, we'll be back on a more consistent base, man. But I do appreciate anybody who continues to listen to me, even without having posted a new show. And I hope you guys have a great, fantastic Monday today. But before we get started, man, listen to my buddy AJ on today's show, as well as his commercial about why you should be listening to the Roads We Travel podcast.
Hey everyone, AJ Pelletier here, and I'm here to talk to you about my podcast, The Roads We've Traveled. It's a podcast where every week I talk to guests and friends from music, art, comedy, and more about their journeys through life, their struggles, their joys, and everything in between. You also get to know a little bit more about me and my journey as well. So if you like podcasts about good conversations about life, or maybe you're just looking to relate to somebody about some things you may be going through as well, then The Roads We've Traveled is the podcast for you. Subscribe to us today on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. Check us out and subscribe to us on YouTube, and check us out at facebook.com/Roads We've Traveled podcast. All right, everyone. Thanks. I don't know how we're going to do. Welcome to the Roads We've Traveled podcast, episode 34.
And welcome to Blue Presents a podcast where I discuss all things music. And today, it's the crossover trilogy. It has been completed.
Trilogy? Have we? Well, I was on another episode of your show. That's
yes,
right.
You
but
were.
It wasn't a crossover because it wasn't on mine. Okay. That's right. I remember. All right. Okay. Yes. So that we'll count that as a what do they call it in movies? Like a side.
Oh yeah. Like Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw. Kind
exactly. Yes. We'll call it that. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, side movie, side story.
So what's up, man? How you been?
Tired. That's how I can explain it, man.
Bro, you're preaching to the choir. Oh
tired.
My God.
Yeah. I mean, I'm positive. I'm happy, man. New job, new things going on in life, man. Some positive news going on here, man. Besides that, we're fully vaccinated, so we're out here living that vaccine life.
Hell yeah.
Other than that, man, we're in the process of looking for a house, our first home.
Hey, awesome.
Yeah, man. And in January, we bought our first newest car to us kind of deal. So, positivity is just, we've been blessed, man. And I know some people have not been in the best position when it comes to this whole situation, man. But me and my wife have been so lucky, and to be honest with you, and she's gonna hate that I say it, but it's all her. It's all her hard work. It's all everything that she does. It's everything she is as a person. She pulls me up, man, and it's just a lot of positivity, man. I you know, you've got things that go on in life, man, and they happen the way that they do. But for us, man, it's just a lot of good things, man. A lot of good things, and I like it that way. How about yourself, brother?
I wish I had a thunderous applause button because I would have played it right now, but all I have is a little anime voice right there. But
Awesome,
for
man.
those of you listening, this is the first episode with my new setup, with my new mic and my Go XLR soundboard. So, yay. That's where my stimmy went. But anyway,
ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, we all did something with it, man. We put ours towards the car and
yeah,
haven't looked back since, man.
well, I will say though that the Go XLR though was a refund because I was supposed to go see Disturbed and Stained this year, but the show got canceled and I spent a lot of money on those tickets, so I got refunded. So that's where the Go XLR money went, and then the mic was part of the stimmy. But anyway,
and it's a good one, man. I've heard a lot of good things about the MV7, man. I actually have a SMB7, but unfortunately, I'm waiting on one piece of equipment to be able to use that more for the podcast.
Gotcha. Yep. Hang on. Yeah. Well, sounds like my neighbor next door is revving his car again. Oh God. Oh man, dude, him and my landlord got into it the other day, dude. Oh my God, it's getting really bad. Like, I really need to find a new place to live.
Yeah, landlords are definitely a situation, man. That's kind of why we are. They just raised our rent, so my wife that's even more why we're like, oh yeah, that house thing that we were maybe putting off for a year, we maybe not need to put that off for a year. Sorry. But yeah, no. So in all that stuff, and even we've been to 2 houses, we've seen like 5 or 6 of them, and already it's just like it's a war of attrition, man, because these houses are going super fast. People are paying with cash, man. It is absolutely insane, man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a process, man, and I told my wife it's a marathon, not a sprint. We're gonna, it'll be a couple months even when we do find the one we want. So
you staying around the same general area, or
yeah, trying to we want to stay where we're at, because obviously my kids, even though like the last 2 years they haven't been technically to school, the teachers know them, they have friends, it's one of those things that you tread that line. When I was growing up, we had like interchangeable friends. You always made friends when you were a kid or whatever the case at. This is a little bit different now. My kids have been here. We've been in this area for about 4 or 5 years. So we want to stay where we're close, or at least, if not in the same general area, to stay close to those friends for them.
Yeah, I hear you, man. So. Good for you, man.
Yeah, but what about you, man? Where you trying to move, man?
God, I don't know yet. I mean, I'm just trying to save right now. I just I got some money put away finally. Not a lot, but I mean, trying. I was looking at a house last year. It didn't really pan out, understandably. But, other than that, I'm just trying to save right now. I'd like to, maybe get like a nice condo or a house or something like that. And see where, yeah, I don't even know if it's going to be in Connecticut or not. I'm still trying to make up my mind about that, but we'll see. As far as right now, I'm just still grinding, still working. Got vaccinated. Of course, I got the Johnson & Johnson 3 days before they recalled it.
Oh man, what?
I'm fine though. This. All right. So we're recording this episode. It's May 8th right now that we're recording this episode. This won't come out for me on my show at least until next month, because all of May's episodes are already uploaded.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, no, I've been vaccinated for over a month now. I haven't had any side effects or anything, knock on wood. I know a lot of other people have had side effects, not just from the Johnson & Johnson one, but from like the Moderna and the Pfizer and everything. Please go get vaccinated. It's worth it. And, I want to go back to some sort of normal in this life.
Exactly.
But anyway, other than that, I've been seeing a new therapist.
Okay.
I've been experiencing a lot of anxiety lately.
I think we all are at this point, man.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
It's been rough, man. Like I was, well, you and I talked, but I was in the hospital a while back because I had a really bad panic attack and something was going on with my esophagus, which I still need to get checked out. But
That sucks.
I just have a lot of medical bills piling up right now, so that's gonna
Yeah,
have to
man.
wait.
I completely understand that, man. But can we talk about a positive, man?
Sure.
You have never had fuller lips, okay? Your lips were gorgeous, baby. Okay, positive.
I am not putting that photo in this video, but yeah. So that was an experience. So for my listeners that don't know, I was in the hospital a while back, like a month or so ago, and I had something was going on with my esophagus that caused a panic attack. I think it's just really bad acid reflux or something.
Yeah.
So I went to the hospital. They put me on Pepsid, and they gave me something else too. I forgot what it was. And they sent me home. But my chest was still kind of killing me a little bit for like the whole night. Like I just felt like I got hit by a truck. So then I go home, I go to bed. I wake up the next morning, like 80% of my body is like covered in hives. Like,
wow.
Just like 80%. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I got some Benadryl. I started taking Benadryl all day. You know what I mean? Trying to help because that helps with the allergic reaction.
Yeah.
And you know, the hospital is also like, oh, take some omeprazole too, because like we really think it's acid reflux. So I got some omeprazole. I took an omeprazole along with the Benadryl. Made it worse. Made it 100 times worse. My body kept breaking out all day. My lips started swelling up. Like I'm like, yeah, like I had those DSL lips, man. Like, you know, full. Like I look like, yeah. I don't care, man. Like I gotta make it funny here, you know. Like, I look like I just got Botox done. Like it was really bad. Yeah. So I'm like,
you were doing your best Kardashian impersonation.
Oh my God. If I did the duck lips, it would have been hilarious. But no, I was like legit like freaking out. I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I had to go back to the hospital that night. And I had my mask on and everything. And I told him, I was like, yeah, I was here last night. I'm not sure if you guys gave me something or told me to take something, but I'm having a really bad allergic reaction to it. And they're like, oh, like, what do you mean? And I take my mask off. They're like, oh, shit. Like, immediately.
They're like, put it back on. God damn it.
So they put me in a room. They put me on a steroid and gave me like 50 milligrams of Benadryl. And they're like, they're looking at my chart and everything. They're like, did we give you Pepsid? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And then you told me to take a omeprazole the next day. They're like, you might be allergic to that. And I'm like, yeah, I showed them all the hives and everything. They're like, Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, they were like, okay, all right, don't take that anymore. You know, you'll have to talk to your doctor about something else. And I'm like, okay. So
I have the same thing, but unfortunately, some of my people don't know. I'm a type 2 diabetic, so acid actually is a huge issue for me. So sometimes I get heartburn that's so severe and significant sometimes that it just I can't eat anything, I can't drink anything. And then also on top of that too, I take metformin, which is a pill form. And then on top of that, you've got like stomach issues, like bathroom issues. Like, some days I'm fine. Other days I can't find a bathroom fast enough.
Oh, dude, tell me about it.
It is what it is. It's a part of life. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, I've been a type 2 diabetic, going on 11 years now. I was actually diagnosed in 10 years rather. I was diagnosed in 2011 with it. Runs in my family. Unfortunately, it's hereditary and whatnot. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes I'm not the best with it, especially because, me and my wife like to go out and
right.
You're not really supposed to drink as much as you do because they say that diabetics' urine is so full of sugar that you could actually make whiskey out of it. Yeah. So sometimes, I have to. Ew. Yeah. Anyways, it's just a fact that I found, one of those things that you're reading and you're just like, that's interesting. Didn't know I needed to know that, but now I do. Yeah, just like, yeah. Anyways.
Well, I think you just you're the first guest on my show to talk about their urine, so
it gets freakier, baby. No, it is what it is, man. But I do what I can, to survive. I've got kids, so I'm trying to do my stuff. And then now I'm with speaking of new doctors, I'm actually working with a new diabetic nutritionist to kind of help some of those things out. And the crazy thing is that when I moved up here from Florida back in 2017, I was almost pushing 300 pounds. And
oh, wow.
Actually, I'm down to like 255 actually.
That's
So
awesome, dude.
I've lost some weight and stuff like that, but still like some of
That'll
my
definitely
habits.
help your diabetes too a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, but also some of my eating habits probably aren't the best
Yeah.
either. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
I work in an industry where like you're traveling a lot, so sometimes some of your options aren't the best options to have
Mm,
sometimes, and even when you try to plan for it, you still like you don't get around to it or whatever the case is I'm sure I'm making excuses here because I'm sure there's people out here who crush it every day, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
I'm working with somebody now to hopefully get down some more weight and stuff like that. Doctor tells me I need to be down probably like another 30-40 pounds and whatnot, so we'll see what happens. I've gotten down to 255 without much. Well, I mean, that's a lie. I do exercise quite a bit. New job
Yeah.
definitely has me working
There you
kind
go.
of crazy, but it's good for me, man. It's more positive. I don't feel so we're gonna do a little bit of your show right now.
Okay.
And talk about a little mental health real quick.
Yeah.
I was
I got
having
some
difficult.
updates myself too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I was having a little bit of a difficult time at the job I was before. That I can now say I was working for FedEx Ground, which is a contractor-based division of FedEx. So basically, I was a subcontractor of a contractor who owned routes and whatnot. So we're not really FedEx employees. We're employees of whoever that contractor owned, and while the money was good and it was keeping me and my family sustained, the way FedEx treats you is kind of like an abusive relationship.
Yeah.
And it just kind of, you're wrong no matter what happens, and no matter what's going on during the day, you have to do what you have to do in order to get your route done, or else kind of deal. And for the longest time, it was messing with me psychologically to the point where it was just like I think at points I was trying to admittedly get myself fired, because there was times where they would bring up subjects. They even started going as far as putting cameras in our vehicles so they could actually see what we were doing, plus see what we were doing on the road.
Right.
And it's kind of annoying when you're trying to do your job. Not to say that they didn't have the right to do that, because they do. But it was kind of annoying when you're going to phone call and you're just like, you're not wearing your seatbelt. Okay, cool. That's cool. I was just at this house here, and then I went to the house next door to hop out and get another package. So does it make sense for me to buckle up for 10 feet of road?
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of frustration there. Also, on top of that, there was no healthcare, no benefits. A lot of people get confused and think that you're with FedEx, so benefits are awesome. No, that's when you're like FedEx Express or FedEx Freight. Those guys are actually FedEx employees. We were not. We weren't given those chances. And as I understand from a friend of mine who still works there, they actually just got health insurance.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, they just got health insurance. But also at the same time, I made the right choice. I moved to a uniform company, and it's a little bit different, but it has great management, great people.
So
I work
like shop uniforms and like stuff like that.
Yeah. Car dealerships, companies like True Green, companies like Volvo, and a bunch of other restaurants. Big Y is one of the ones that we do. Costco is probably one of our biggest customers. They spend $24 million with us a year. So it's like it's a different aspect of the business. I'm still driving,
Right.
but it's different. You're dealing with people in a different clientele, and then you just have this is the one thing I noticed about this job that was different from the other job. They're more corporate structure, so it's not like this is corporate business, but the way they treat me it's amazing, man. It's fantastic. I never thought I'd work for a corporate company and feel like as important as the guy who runs the place, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I know I'm still new, and I'm sure there's other people who have other differing opinions in it, but I've been there since a little bit before Christmas, and it's been a positive experience. I don't feel some of the stress that I was feeling before. I just feel stressed in other things like life, raising kids, having kids who aren't in school, trying to make sure that I'm a good husband, a good father, and a lot of other good things that I'm still trying to work on while trying to be a podcaster, a gamer, and a wannabe streamer.
Dude, you and I are cut from the same cloth, brother. Like, oh God, like I'm glad that you really you got a new job and it's working out for you, man. It sounds like it's working out, and like I feel like that kind of work too, like, is a lot more friendlier too. Like, some of the customers have got to be a lot more friendlier because they're expecting you to come and they, you know what I mean? And you have their clothes and, you know, shirts or whatever, you know, cause like my previous manufacturing jobs, we would have that too, where like,
Mhm.
I was like, if I was working in shipping or whatever before I moved on to the machines or whatever, like I was always the one talking to those guys that would be delivering that stuff and like always had good relationships with them and everything.
Yeah,
Whereas,
you get a little bit of both. You get a little bit of like that, and then you've got people who are probably a little bit more corporate than anything, so they kind of
mm,
they give you a little hard time because they feel
right,
like they've got some type of um overlay on you. And then you have people who are just the nicest people in the world, and anytime you have a question for them, you solve their issue for them right away, or if not, you help them through the issue and you show
right,
that you can gain the trust. With this job, I'm starting to learn, if you have the trust of these people, then there's nothing that you could mess up one or two times and they'll still be like, he's a good guy, he comes through, he forgives. I actually recently had a they do this thing where like every once in a while they'll follow up with a customer just to kind of
mm,
make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to do. And I didn't know it was happening, and I actually got some positive scores, positive reviews from my work so far. And I've only been there, like I said, this is May, so we're heading into month 4 or 5 now.
nice, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off,
no,
but
no,
I
no,
do
no,
that a
no,
lot.
no. I'm still trying to find something else. You know what I mean? Because like this has been coming up in therapy too. And for my listeners out there, I've talked about it in the Facebook group page,
Mhm.
Facebook.com. I don't know the link off the top of my head, but look up the roads we traveled road trippers group if you would like to join. It's just a positive Facebook group page where we talk about mental
And thank
health
you for
and
the ad, by the
positivity.
way. I really
Yeah,
like it, man.
yeah.
It's a nice little
You're
space there.
you're one of our moderators, so you're gonna you know you're gonna be approving posts and you know stuff like that because I trust you. So yeah, absolutely, man. I can't
Thank you,
always
sir.
be moderating these posts coming
Thank
through.
you,
So
sir. I was wondering for a minute there why I was getting all these notifications, and I was just like, wait, he did what? Oh, okay, I get it now. I appreciate it though. But it is nice, man. It's a nice group of people, and anybody who's
Mhm.
on there, man, feel free to hit me up anytime, man. I'm down to talk about anything, man. Like I said, I've said it before and I'll say it again on many episodes. AJ is a friend of just absolute the highest regard, man. We've known each other for a year and some months, and the love and respect that you give me, man, I appreciate it. The times you reach out to me, I appreciate it, man. Just a whole like humbling experience to have somebody, and just to think, man, technically speaking, some people don't usually work too well. Competition breeds a lot of
Mm,
envy or jealousy. And I think if anything, our like-minded, similar thought process has brought us together and really shown that, two guys in the same space. And yeah, we're talking music, man, but we're definitely talking different aspects of it. And I think we bring things in together. I've had a couple of your guests already start to reach out to me, and you're gonna start seeing a couple of AJ's guests, and my show's a little bit more focused towards the music, man. So you're definitely going to hear the more of the musical side of it. It's not to say, AJ doesn't talk about music. AJ obviously talks about music,
mm.
man.
Talk
He
about
just,
everything.
yeah, and we talk about a little of everything. My show
Yeah.
just, I like to talk about that journey, man, because all of our musical identity is completely different, man. From I've had people on my show whose parents were into classical music and ballerinas, and now he's a drummer that's signed to one of the best deathcore record labels out there right now, and
Right.
they just finished writing their second album. So it just kind of shows you the varying degrees of a journey from where we start to where we end up, and how it impacts our lives and stuff like that. And I
Right.
think
Right.
our relationship is very much like that. You know what I'm saying? By the way, I was showing my wife some of In the Red stuff,
Oh
and
God.
she was just she was yeah, she's like, wow, I did not expect that voice out of him. I was not ready.
It's still so cringe to me. Like I got to get over that because it's like I'm proud of the
Mhm.
stuff that I've done in the past, but
Of
like
course.
you know, like old in the red, I'm like, oh God, man, I really wish we had somebody like do it for us because like we were just recording it ourselves and like it's nothing against Chris. I love Chris and
Mhm.
shout out to Chris. I just got his email the other day. He got a job offer in Virginia, so him and his family up and moved to Virginia. So
That's what's up,
congrats to
man.
him.
Congrats.
Yeah. But yeah, just that old stuff is just so cringe to me now. Like I think we finally got our niche like right towards the end before I left. Like, you know, we found our sound and then I'm like, yep, I gotta leave. Like, you know, so but it is what it is. But anyway, yeah, what was I talking about before all this? I don't remember. Oh,
No, we were just talking about our relationship and
right, right.
what we do different, all that good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I will be working on new music. I'm working with my buddy Mike Castro. We're going to be forming a studio project.
Mm.
You know, unfortunately, I was trying to work with some guys last year. It didn't pan out. They all got stuff going on, so it's fine. You know, whatever. It's eventually going to happen. You're going to hear some new music from me eventually. I just don't know
I
when.
want it. I want it.
But other than that, like, you know, I've like I said, I've been seeing a new therapist. You know, and I just started taking antidepressants for the first time in my life to try to help a little bit. So I'm on Lexapro, like a very low dose of Lexapro. So I just started taking it this week. Haven't really noticed anything yet. They said it takes a couple weeks for it to like really kick
Yeah.
in, but like I have been noticing little bits of things where I'm just like not thinking so much about stuff, which is amazing because I think I get stuck in my head constantly with shit. So I'm like, you know, something will pop in my head. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't matter right now. Like, why am I thinking about that? You know, like just focus on what you're doing right now. And then I'm like, oh, wow, that was easy. Like, why did I just immediately switch gears like that? I'm like, huh, okay, cool. Maybe this is working.
I mean, it's hard, man. Sometimes, we have so much. Anybody has so much to worry about. I don't care who you are. Even if you're well off, you're still thinking about things, man. You're still thinking about how to go forward with this new world that we're going with. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. I completely understand for you because, just kind of get into it for a little bit here. There was some question on how much longer I would be doing Blue Presents podcast for a little bit there because, you know, there's a lot of things going on, man. And to be honest with you, I didn't ever see, I had an idea for a podcast for at least the last 2 years. But I never really thought it would go the way it went. You know what I'm saying? And it's not to say that I haven't been blessed with super great opportunities, talked with some artists that absolutely mean the world with me, talked with people that I now share a bond with, such as yourself. And it's been an awesome thing. But there was moments there where I was just like, is this content what I want to do? And to be perfectly honest with you, I want to give a shout out to Brandon Cooper and a shout out to the dudes in Mangled who just, I don't know, man, they revived my passion in podcasting again, man. Just kind of having conversations with those guys and kind of getting back into that whole thing and understanding what this purpose of this show is. I'm not gonna sit here and saying I'm doing like crazy hella great numbers and whatnot, but also at the same time, I feel happy with the content that I'm putting out. And it's a humbling experience that people, even when I wasn't doing the show, people were still listening and I was still getting lots of plays, and I am so appreciative of that, and it means a lot to me, and it just says that I've got something to say that people want to listen to. Also, the other thing too that was kind of hindering me from that was the fact that I felt like I was getting away from actually doing legitimate music, and that's some of what I've actually was working on at the time. And in that aspect, I was overthinking everything. I was overthinking lyrics. I was overthinking songs, and I've been working with my friend Brandon Cooper, who's an amazing producer. He's the guitar player in Worm Shepherd, and shout out to those guys. Because even with all his stuff going on, man, he just signed with a record label. His band is doing absolutely phenomenal. They're awesome. They got a bunch of tours that are getting booked up, everything from here to Europe, man. Those guys are just absolutely killing it. But the fact that even through all of that, man, he hasn't big time me once and has helped me with my own music. And hopefully this summer, you guys will be hearing my very first single that I'll be dropping off my new project, which AJ's got a little preview of already.
I did. Yeah.
Yes. And it's finally mixed and mastered. So shout out to Brandon, shout out to Aaron Shapirian. Both those guys work at Iron Audio. So if you're an artist that's looking for someone to write some music for you, hit those guys up. Don't worry about the cost, because I'm telling you right now, this song will sound amazing. Okay. I'm convinced that these two could fart on a track and it would be the greatest thing you've ever heard. It would just be edited and mixed so well that but luckily enough, they've both been super, super helpful. And then I actually have a song that that a friend of mine's, Keith, wrote for me And hopefully I'll be putting that together. That one's a little trippy. It's kind of nice, kind of cool, a little bit different than what I've been doing, trying to test those singing vocals and a little bit of a little screaming and stuff like that. But other than that, man, like I said, I'm kind of glad I'm getting back into the whole podcasting thing, and people such as yourself keep me motivated to keep wanting to do this, man. Because I hear the content you put out, man, and it blows me away, man. You are coming into your own as a host, brother, and you're putting on some absolute amazing shows. So
that
once again, this isn't Kiss AJ's ass fest, but I love what he does.
That means a lot, man, because like you said, like I've been having some doubts about my podcast too, like especially like halfway through like season 2 already. I was just like, okay, like I've got guests, like the numbers weren't really spiking as much because it's probably because of the hiatus I took from season 1.
Same thing. Yep.
But as soon as like I want to say after episode 3 or whatever episode, I think might have been 29 or something like that, for this season, the numbers went right back up, and then like I've been noticing a lot more significant downloads and everything. So I'm like, okay, like this is cool. I'm not going back to weekly though, because I mentally and physically can't do weekly podcasts anymore. That's why I pre-record a bunch and drop them bi-weekly. But other than that, like it kind of revitalized my love for this show as well too, because I was just like feeling burnt out and like, the numbers were okay. They could be better. Like, am I really like, do I see an end goal for this podcast? Do I want to keep doing this? I don't know yet. Like I do like you said, like I want to get back into music. I want to, put out a studio album before I turn 40, which is 6 years from now. So, but there's other stuff I'd like to do too. And, do I want to keep being a Twitch streamer too? Like that's the other thing. Like I love playing on the weekends and stuff like that too. But at the same time, like we're starting to go back to some sort of normal in life. Like I'd like to get back out there. I'd like to hang out with friends again. I'd like to go to shows.
Yeah.
Maybe meet a girl. You know what I mean? I'm still single. Like who knows? But like I don't see myself streaming every weekend now that things are kind of going back to normal. You know what I mean? So it's kind of things like that. And this podcast that definitely helped me get through this pandemic. I'm still going to do this podcast for as much as I possibly can, but there's only so many times where it's just like, okay, maybe we should like talk about something else too, because like I know like I know I focus a lot about mental health on the show, but I mean like now I'm getting returning guests such as yourself and like a few other people, and I'm like, I don't want to keep nitpicking or not nitpicking, just talking about the same stuff. Like let's talk about other stuff. Let's have a little bit of fun in the episode too. Like maybe we could have a topic and talk about that certain topic. Like that's stuff that I'm starting to think about for like down the road for the show too, especially for returning guests. So just trying to keep it new, fresh, so.
And I get that, because even like before the pandemic hit, one of the ideas that I had was wanting to do an actual live version of my podcast, but obviously, with the way the world went, things got shut down. So now that we're kind of edging closer to that, I'm hoping within maybe the next year or two to actually do an actual live Blue Presents a Podcast in front of an audience, and then, maybe who knows, with a particular band or with particular bands, I would really like to do something like that.
Yeah. I mean, like for right now, like you can stream it, you know what I mean? Like, I know it's not really the same, but you can still answer questions live and stuff. Of course. You know what I mean? Like we did that for the league. When we rebooted that, we haven't done a new episode in a while, but
what's going on with that, man? Is anything just busy?
Yeah, everyone's just busy, and it's understandable. Like Kevin got really busy with his art. Scott picked up more hours at his job, especially since one of his coworkers is on maternity leave now. Jeannie's usually off for Sundays, so I know she's around, but like I don't want to do the show without Scott, and her, because like it's a
tag team.
Yeah, exactly. And then Agrippa's always down as long as he's available. He's just happy that he doesn't have to do any of the producing, and so that's why I do it all. So, but we haven't been able to schedule a new episode in months. So and it is what it is. So it gives me more time to focus on this show and whatever.
for sure.
But I definitely still want to do something pop culture related one of these days, like talk about stuff or whatever. And even if I got to integrate it with my show, I don't care, whatever. But what's that? You want to? What's up, buddy?
So I don't want to say any names, but someone suggested possibly an AJ and Blue show.
Ooh, I would be down for that.
We might need to talk off air.
Okay.
We might need to talk off air because yeah. But anyways, man, no, I just, I like I said, I love what I love what you do. I love what you do. And, with hopefully, everybody's getting vaccinated, things are getting back to a little bit normal. I would definitely, my whole thing is that one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show was because I was definitely interested in the aspect of in-person interviews.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And to be personally honest with you, shit, I don't even remember the last time I did a fucking in-person interview, and it's been a while, man. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's difficult, but I do have one coming up soon that I'm actually super, super excited about. I actually have 2 of them coming up soon next month. So hopefully, or actually, when this drops, it'll be next month. So in the month of next month, yeah.
I'd like to do an in-person interview too. I'm trying to think about how I go about doing that, because like we used to, like back in the day, we used to have the league record in my apartment, and clearly I can't do that anymore because I got this giant elliptical behind me. Like it's kind of cramped now. This is my living space. I don't want people here. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
But
and my wife's the same way. She's like not wanting anybody in the house unless you're vaccinated or unless you really know who you are.
Like I thought about, especially for my show, like what if I did it like, like at like a park or something, like secluded or whatever, something like that. But I don't know how good the audio would be. You know what I mean? So like it's I don't know. Like these are just ideas that I keep like thinking about, like, I'll have to figure it out one of these days. I mean, like, thank God for things like Zoom. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I could still do my podcast that way. But one of these days, I want to try to figure out. I need a better laptop, to be honest with you, to be able to pull that off. But for now, it's just my PC. So
no, and and I'm sure like with your upgrades and stuff like that, I've been upgrading some of the software that I've been using, and like I said, upgrading microphones, just waiting on some extra equipment and stuff like that. When you're a parent and you're married and stuff like that, you got to take it all slow. You can't just like, hey, I'm going to drop this or whatever the case. I'm sure it's the same way when you're trying to do things and stuff like that. And even though like you got money
too. Yeah,
exactly. So, and a piece of advice for anybody who wants to really get into saving money, man, if you stop thinking about that $50 you don't have and you start to realize that it wasn't going to be there anyways, it really helps you save money. Because to be particularly honest with you, I set an alarm for every Friday to send my wife money to put in our savings. So
there you go.
There's more times than not that my brain is so trained now that I just send it to her before. And then here's the funny part too. If you're with a significant other and you're trying to save money, this is just for advice to whoever's listening to this. When you send Cash App, you can write like a little note. So every Friday I write my wife a little note in the little, like, there's a who you're sending it to and then for what you're sending it to. So in the for what, I usually write like a little note to my wife, like I've written things like, to my still asleep in bed queen, stuff like that. There's kind of like, just a little cute stuff like that, man. And it makes it even fun because now she's like, 1, she's expecting that money. Okay. Right. And then 2, she gets a note, this is kind of goofy or whatever the case is. I can't remember what I sent her this Friday.
$50, little man, put that shit in my hand.
Exactly. But it makes it a lot easier now. Now we're putting a little bit of money away, and
there you go.
And it's fun now. Like in the beginning for me, I think that's the one thing. It's hard when you've never saved money before,
right?
Because you're just like, damn, that's $50 I could have done with. And then now when you start thinking about it and it's just like, it's $50 that wasn't going to be there anyways. And you were going to spend it on bullshit anyways.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I've been, the last few months I've been putting away my part-time job paychecks, like, cause it's just, I've been able to like catch up on some bills. Granted, I still have some medical bills that I'm slowly paying off, but like, I'm just like, I'm not paying them off all at once. Like, I'm just like, I probably could have, but I'm like, no, I'm going to put some money away. I'm going to pay these bills off slowly and just have this money for God knows if anything else.
So that's what I'm doing. And I've been putting away my paychecks for my part-time job every week. I just found out yesterday that because I work part-time for a vape shop as their
Okay.
graphic designer and stuff. I just found out that the FDA is pushing through another flavor ban on
Oh
vapes.
yeah.
And
Wow.
if that happens next year, if it does go through, they might be closing their doors. So
Wow.
so it's like, oh fuck. Like if that happens,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I mean, like, granted, this is money that I have just in case. Like, granted,
Mhm.
like last year, it was like, okay, like I was, that was extra money that I needed every single
Mhm.
week, but now I'm able to finally put away. But now I'm thinking like, shit, dude, am I gonna have to find another job? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Another part-time job, because I'm barely getting any overtime at my main job. I
Mhm.
just got some overtime this week because we had a lot of work. But anyway, I don't want to dive too
No,
deep
no,
into
it's
that. But
fine,
like,
man.
trying to save money while living in
Yeah.
Connecticut is a pain in the ass. Like, it's just so
Yeah,
fucking
man.
expensive to live here. But anyway,
It's the same. It's the same thing in Mass. You know what I'm saying? I'm. Like I said, we're looking for a house now because our landlords decided they wanted to raise the rent. So it's. I mean, it is what it is, man.
Mhm.
And it comes with the territory. We've been in this apartment for 4 years longer than we were expecting to be. But there was me and my wife are very goal oriented. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And my wife is one of those people that when she sets a goal, she's looking to smash it, if not like destroy it um before it even goes to where it needs to go. So,
Right.
I'm thankful for her. I'm thankful for her energy into certain things like that. Sometimes we butt heads about certain things and, my wife is definitely those I want it now and I don't care what you say kind of ladies. It is what it is, but her
Mm.
hustle and her hard work are just as equally as great as her desire to want those things.
Oh
She's
yeah.
not sitting here just telling you you need to give me this or you need to give me that. She's telling me I'm going to get this and I'm going to figure out how to get it, and I think sometimes it's kind of hard to have that mentality, you know what I'm saying? Because I know sometimes she kind of beats herself up more than she needs to, but I love her. And she keeps me motivated, like I said, but it is what it is, man. Just you got to keep plugging away, man. Because if you
Yeah.
don't start, if you keep giving yourself excuses on why you can't get started, man, um, it gets at you, man. Like I said, last year was the first year in my whole entire life I ever got a credit card, and I'm 35. You know what I'm saying? I just got a credit card for the first time in my life, and obviously she's motivating me to keep that in there and all this other good stuff, and like I said, man, we're just if anything I can give anybody advice on, man, if you don't start now, man, you're going to be kicking yourself in the ass when you get
Right.
to a certain age and stuff like that. It's even the same thing like with the new job. New job has 401k, and I'm jumping on that as soon as I possibly can to kind of get those things, stored away. Cause not all of us can get lucky and start buying GameStop stocks or Dogecoin or whatever the
Right.
fuck, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny thing is,
I gotta look into that myself too. But
yeah,
anyway.
I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah, I got to get into that because there's a gentleman. So I listen to a morning radio show, The Breakfast Club, and there was a gentleman they had on there. His name is the Wall Street Trapper. This guy went to jail for I think for armed robbery or something. Went into jail and served time with this gentleman who was a white guy, and this white guy kind of like made fun of him a little bit for not understanding the fact that he was in jail for embezzling money, and he embezzled $2.8 million and only had to pay back 800,000, which meant he kept the other $2 million. Yes. Yes. The look on your face that you're giving me right now. Yes.
Privilege, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So he explained to him how stocks work and all that other good stuff. And this gentleman who was on the Breakfast Club actually broke this down to me so well, in terms, I guess, of streetness. It made sense to me. And me and my wife are, getting ready we want to kind of test the waters and maybe investing, starting off with maybe a couple $100 and see
There
what
you
we
go.
can do.
I actually,
'Cause-
I got money in Robinhood myself too. I bought some, I bought some stock in cannabis, and
Yeah.
I bought stock in Pfizer early last year, even though it didn't really go up at all. Moderna's fucking skyrocketed. Pfizer's
Yeah.
is still around the same.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Well, because I
But
mean, it's Pfizer.
Yeah.
It's just like they're gonna, it's the same. There's certain things that I'm starting to learn about how that stuff works. Like he said, one of his investments was he invested $10,000 into Ford because he was just like, Everybody drives a Mustang and Ford F-150. And he said it was the worst investment he'd ever made in his life because he lost so much money. But he invested for his daughter, I think he bought like 100,000 shares of Disney before they launched Disney Plus. And he bought it. He bought it for $15,000. It's sitting at six figures for his daughter now.
Jesus.
It's worth well over 300 grand now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And his daughter's only 6.
Wow.
So it's crazy. But anyways, man.
Yeah.
We're catching up on life, man. It is what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? And
adulthood. Yay.
Yeah. Adulthood. It's scary. Oh, savings. Oh, you know. And if you think about this too, as a kid, when you're like a kid, you're just like, you're thinking about what you want to do, especially when I was like 15, 16, I was like, yo, I want to be in music. I want to do this. And you don't think about these things. And now as an adult, the fact that I'm so adulting so hard now that I'm just like investments and saving money. Yeah, man, we're gonna pay the finance on my car. Fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like things.
Yeah, if your younger self could like look at you right now, I'm like, what happened to you, man? Like,
no, younger self would look at me and be like, you know, you
No,
were
I
on
know.
time. You did what you
Yeah,
did what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
supposed to do. You know, your mother didn't hit you with a shoe.
My younger self would be drunk in the snow somewhere right now. Like,
Those
anyway,
nachos, yeah, nachos.
Taco Bell 2 a.m, AJ. Yeah.
Oh my god, man. No, hey man, you know, like we also got to remember those, you know, it's the same thing with my wife. My wife was a wild and free gothic spirit. And like I said, we've known each other since she was like 15, I was like 17. So, you know, to see what she's changed from now to what we're focused on, and it's just I don't know, it's a positive thing. Sometimes you look back on those things and you're just like, oh, younger me would kick the shit out of myself for some of the shit I'm doing now. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
also at the same time, we're looking at it from the aspect of, you know, what we're going to do for our kids. You know,
Right.
My wife talks a lot about generational trauma and how, you know, how it affects her and stuff like that. So we're trying to hopefully have generational finances to make our kids realize what it takes to do this stuff, you know, because my kids are growing up completely different from when I'm growing up, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
I'm sure when they get old enough, they'll be like, my dad, that one time he didn't let me get the snow cone with the extra serving, you know, and I'm fine with that, because at the end of the day, I'm sure, you know, they'll talk about, you know, the hard work that me and their mother put in to
Oh yeah,
get them
dude.
to certain aspects, man. It is what it is, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like that's the way I look at my parents too. I mean, like I said in many episodes, like, you know, they did the best they could. You know, they raised some good
Yeah.
kids. There are things that I wish they did differently, but I can't really get mad at them for it. So
Yeah, and they got this phenomenal kid over here. His name's AJ. He's pretty fucking awesome.
Thank you. Your mom's got to be proud of you too, man. You're a good dude.
Oh no, yeah, she's been on the show before. I don't know if
Yeah,
anybody's
yeah,
ever listened to. Episode 24. You can listen to my mother tell you how she's always supported me, which was
Aw.
somewhat of a lie there. she gave me some shit in the beginning, but you know, we'll let her remember it how she wants to remember it.
I can't. I'm not going to get my mom on my show because one, I love my mom to death, but she won't be able to figure out Zoom. Two,
Oh my God.
like, yeah. Just leave it
well,
at that. But-
it worked out for me because my mom's boyfriend works in IT, so he
Oh,
was
there you
just
go.
be able to just press the button for her. I was like, "Hey, it's my mom," and she's in full screen. Look at her. But no,
Oh.
she was a fun guest, and it was nice to have my mom on, because it just, sometimes you want to talk about certain things that you've done musically, but it's weird to talk about yourself, and you know, you start
Right.
sounding like The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin over here, and just like, The Rock said this, you know, like it's weird. So to talk with my mom about my perspective of what my music career kind of was when I was kind of coming up, and some of the opportunities that I got, it's kind of nice. And then also, you know, like I said, you know, it's one of those things. And then it was funny because I didn't even realize it was the week of Mother's Day, so I accidentally recorded a Mother's Day show without even realizing I did a
Aw.
Mother's Day show.
yeah, I forgot tomorrow's Mother's Day, so I'm gonna have to call my mother. This is how burnt out I am from everything going
man,
on in my life.
It's
like,
just it's
yeah.
it's
Time
it's
is
life,
just-
man.
time just flies right by and you don't even
Don't feel
realize
bad.
it.
We're doing Chili's for lunch tomorrow with margaritas. That's the extent of my Mother's Day with the fam.
I honestly can't take my mother anywhere because she called me earlier this week. She's been having vertigo all week, so she
terrible,
hasn't.
man.
Yeah, she hasn't been feeling all that great. But I guess she's feeling a little bit better. So, but I don't want to risk taking her anywhere. Just in case. God forbid.
Hey man,
so
flowers in a meal. Bring it to her, man.
Yeah.
I'm sure that'll put a little smile on her face. And,
Yeah. So, but anyway, let's talk about some music. We had a subject. I think you were talking about video games. I was talking about movies. I don't care if we do either or today. Maybe we could save one for another episode.
Yeah. Let's go with movies because I could talk about movies all day long. Let's go with 5, man.
Our top 5 favorite movie music, whatever.
Okay.
I would probably say, oh God, what would be number 5 for me? Oh God, I'm gonna need a minute because I just fucking. How about you go first?
Boom. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my number 5, and it is the fucking Boondock Saints. Okay, so first of all, let's just talk about just one of those movies that I have watched so many times. I just don't even know how to even describe it. So first off, let's talk about a very unknown director, Troy Duffy, bringing music and some live aspects of certain artists from the Boston area that he actually got to be in the first Boondock Saints music wise. And
didn't he actually change his band name to the Boondock Saints after the success of the movie?
I think so. Yeah. But he did such a great job with the music for that movie. Especially even from the intro, very Irish, music, and then he mixed in some alternative music. He mixed in, for it being 1999, he mixed in some great atmospheric scenes, Willem Dafoe in the middle of the street describing the shooting and what happened, and all that music and how it just sounded so angelic. And he made this beautiful shooting scene sound like it had just rained down from heaven, even though it was just random nonsense violence. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is just for me, that's one of those movies that the music score is so awesome. And actually, there's a scene in that movie that I actually stole a line from. It's the one where Rocco's in the back seat, where he's just kind of talking about what they could do with their new potential grouping and whatever the case is.
Right.
Then he just has the epiphany and he looks at the camera and he says, "We could kill everyone." It's just one of those amazing lines,
I fucking love the Boondock Saints, man. That was my go-to movie every St. Patty's Day. I would just fucking my brother would say, "Hey, let's drink and watch the Boondock Saints. We'll drink every time someone says the word fuck." Literally didn't make it 20 minutes into the movie and he passed out. So
oh man. It's actually, so here's the funny thing is back in the day, I had a roommate, Justin Waddington, and if he's listening to the show, what up, Justin? He lives out in Buffalo, Syracuse, New York area. And we would literally come home from work. We used to work late night over at Home Depot. We'd come home. We'd both come home from work. This is back when I was a little bit more adventurous with the wacky tobacco, smoking the devil's lettuce. And we'd get high and just watch the movie and repeat line after line. This is one of my favorite movies that just music wise, it's one of those movies that every scene where it needed meaning was so serious, but then there were scenes where it was just perfectly fits, makes everything about the movie more prevalent. Like I said, the shooting scene, Willem Dafoe's describing everything that goes on. And another thing,
love those scenes.
Another thing, first of all, can we just talk about how Willem Dafoe, I don't know why he didn't get an Oscar for that fucking movie, because his character in that movie was so great. Yes. And then especially the overt sexualization that he was doing to some of those officers, and be like, "Would you give me a bagel, sweet and low?" He just said it so aggressively. It was just whoa, what the
yeah.
Where did that come from? No, it
just Greenlee, onion bagel, cream cheese.
I'm not getting them no fucking bagel.
I'm not gonna repeat that scene that he had with his lover in that scene, but he's just
that
like
one.
cuddle. What a
Yeah.
yeah.
But once again, it just tells you the same thing about the movie. I mean, even him as the cross-dress, Joey Bevo sent me. that scene right there just got me so bad, and just the fact that he was willing to go that far in an acting sense. You know, we're getting away from the music, but we're talking about Willem Dafoe's just amazing performance. The fact that he dressed up as a woman and walked and showed up to the house, and like I'll always remember that Joey Bevo sent me. The line is just it's ridiculous.
For me, I gotta say probably I don't know if it's definitely Airheads. Airheads was an awesome movie.
Yes,
with
man.
Brandon Fraser, Adam Sandler, and Steve Buscemi. That was, oh my god, such a great movie. I love the premise where they're like just trying to like get signed or whatever, and they're just holding the radio station hostage, and at the end they're just playing a show in jail and everything. Like, it was just such a fucking great fun movie. But
it's definitely one of those movies where it's a callback to that time, that early 90s sound,
right.
And just like the other thing too is a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of metaphors in that movie for people who are quote unquote posers, so it kind of takes aim at people who say they're one thing and don't and do another thing kind of deal. So
Right.
But still a great music, great songs. Even then, Stevie Buscemi looked like he was 185. Oh my god! And that's like I don't know. I love that movie for a lot of reasons. And then also at the same time too, to think about all three of those guys: Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser. All those guys were not taken as seriously because they were seen like as, maybe not Brendan Fraser, but Adam Sandler and Steve Buscemi, like the SNL people, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of more of a joke. And then when you fast forward and you think about it, Brendan Fraser became super huge because of The Mummy. Adam Sandler just put out banger after banger until recently. And then Steve Buscemi went on to do some really interesting roles, including one of my favorite, which was Boardwalk Empire. I don't know if you've ever seen that show before.
No, I've heard good things.
He is phenomenal in there. He plays like a mobster type deal, and you don't think that he could do that role so well. He comes off super intimidating. He comes off like he was born to play that role. It's
nice.
A very, very, very good TV show. If you get a chance, you get like me, I got HBO Max. You get a chance to watch that, I would watch it. It's definitely a noteworthy series in the time. But yeah, no, perfect. I think perfect movie when it comes to that time. They focused in on the music of that era, and it's just amazing, which is funny because my next movie is also an Adam Sandler movie. So my next movie is going to be The Wedding Singer. Okay?
Oh god.
That is one of my favorite. Okay, so first of all, I like cheesy rom-coms. Okay, I love cheesy rom-coms. This is one of my favorite movies for a few reasons. One, it reminds me a lot of things that I've been through when it comes to breakups, and just feeling like you want the world to end or you want that person to just not exist. So that's one of the reasons why the movie gets me. And then falling in love with someone who maybe like likes you but has like their own situation going on, which I've been there before, and I think some of us have been there before. So that movie relates to me on two cents, but the fucking soundtrack is just the ultimate collection of everything about the 80s I love, and annoys my wife. So yeah, there you go.
I gotta say my number 4 would probably be The Rocker with Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight Schrute in The Office. Such a funny ass movie. So good. He plays a drummer that basically his band was about to get signed, and they kicked him out because the record producer was like, well, I'll sign your band if you let my son be the drummer. So they kicked him out, and he went on this like psycho fucking,
oh my god,
like it was so goddamn funny at the beginning, and then like he just held a grudge for so long, and then his nephew started a band, and then they kind of like skyrocketed. And what is that kid's name? Something Geiger. Yeah, he was popular for a minute and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth. I think his name was I don't know why I want to say Joey Geiger, but it's definitely a Geiger, something Geiger. Josh Gad?
He was like, no, not Josh Gad.
That says director. No, stars: Rainn Wilson, Josh Gad, Christina Applegate, Teddy. Oh, Teddy Geiger.
Teddy Geiger. Yeah,
Yep,
Teddy Geiger. Yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
He was a little pop sensation for a minute there. He looked like John Mayer, the younger version. That's what he looked like. I don't even know what he's doing now music
I
wise,
don't
but
know.
he's actually a pretty good singer. But no, that's a great movie too. So many funny aspects of that movie. And
I just
then
remember all
also,
the sweat that would come off of him in the
true.
movie. It's just so gross.
But once again, it's another movie that has like a slight subtle inference to social media in its infancy. Because if you
Right.
see, they got famous off of the whole YouTube video
Mm-hmm.
of him being naked or whatever.
The naked
And it was
drummer.
just,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, there we go. Like it's another movie. And I love movies like that where they like show you something before it like really took off. Because if you think about it, I think that, what is that, 2009, 2010 when that movie came out?
2008.
Okay, yeah, so I'm even later than that, but it would go on to show the popularity of what social media can do for certain artists, and not even, their music, technically speaking. Because remember, before this, what was it, MySpace bands and stuff like that, and every week there was like some new MySpace band that had come out. I think that's, be honest with you, I think that's the band Job for a Cowboy attributes some of their success to that, even though they ended up hating what people loved about them. It happens that way, man. It definitely does. All right, so
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. No worries. So my third movie is going to be, and I'm gonna cheat here, but pretty much every single Friday the 13th, starting from the first one, pretty much. And I'm gonna go phase. I'm almost gonna go movie by movie, but I'm gonna go from part 1 all the way to about part 6. Has some of the best scored music when it comes to horror, when it comes to making you feel uncomfortable and unnerved, especially that first movie, when it's not Jason who's the killer, when it's actually his mother who's the killer. There were so many things about those scenes. And I mean, let's talk about, that's a low budget movie, that first movie, and it really wasn't shot that great, it wouldn't be as popular. Well, it's popular, but it wouldn't be the mega thing it would be until a few movies later when they started really putting money into it. But yeah, no, those first like 6 movies, the music's unnerving, it's crazy, it's atmospheric as fuck, and it gives you that feeling of like something's about to happen, I don't know what. But let's talk about the new metal masterpiece that Freddy vs. Jason is, okay?
Hell
because
yeah.
it is absolutely one of the best fucking soundtracks
Kill Switch Engage.
fucking
El Nino.
First of all, that Il Nino song, I'm sorry, that Il Nino song was literally
Fire.
everything to me when it came
Fire.
out. Exactly. It's so fucking good. I don't speak Spanish, but there's a Spanish version of that song that I know from fucking front to back in Spanish, okay? Fucking absolutely.
My Instacart driver totally missed my street.
Ooh.
I'm looking right at them. Sorry.
Sir, that's not a good tip. You're not getting a tip for that. Oh, don't worry. I live on a street that's called East Carew, but for whatever reason, drivers get confused with another Carew that's around the corner from us. And several times we've had issues where they're like, we're at your house, but I don't see 56 because that street ends at 46.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's not 46. Are you on East Carew or are you on Carew? And they're like, oh, I think I'm on Carew. Like, no, bro, it's East Carew, Yeah. Don't worry. I feel your pain. But yeah, so
Anyway,
the new metal masterpiece that Freddy vs. Jason is just absolutely amazing. There's so many great artists on there. Chimera, I believe, is also on that record. Spine Shank is also on that record, which is a low-key new metal band that I absolutely fucking love. But yeah, that Il Nino song was literally everything to me. I listened to that song front to back so many times, but it is just, granted, the movie's not the best movie in the world, and you can cry over whenever you want to cry, but it's the first time we'd ever actually seen those guys since Jason Goes to Hell, which is kind of, so mind you, that Jason Goes to Hell came out in 1990. And at the end of the movie, he gets dragged to hell, and the last scene you see is Freddy's hand grabbing the mask or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
Freddy vs. Jason didn't come out till 13 fucking years later.
I know.
Okay. Which is crazy. But from what I understand, it was in developmental hell, which always happens that way. And we ended up with like what we ended up with. And then on top of that, we didn't even get the right Jason because Kane Halder should have played Jason in that movie.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of issues with it, but the music in that movie is absolutely amazing.
I think my number 3 is gonna have to be. God, it's a toss up. It's probably gonna be School of Rock with Jack Black.
Yes.
That's such a good movie.
Yeah, man, and there's some good scenes. Actually, the band that interestingly enough, the vocalist for that band is also the vocalist for the band in the Rocker. It's the same guy. He also is an original cast member of the original Rent, actually.
Oh, no
So,
shit.
I'm a whole nerd like this, okay? My wife hates it because she's just like, how do you fucking know everything about every person who acts in a movie? There's just certain artists that I like, and I've had enough time to watch a lot of movies in my life. So that's the only reason why I know that.
All right, so now we're on number 2, right?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And my number 2 is the 1985 classic itself, The Last Dragon. Okay.
Ooh.
First of all, let's just talk about another movie that just hones in on 80s house music that's just so fucking amazing. All the like, even the lady that the evil record exec guy is trying to get his wife, he's trying to make her like a older Madonna, if you will. There's some certain things about that movie just that are absolutely amazing. And on top of that, it just it just, like I said, it encapsulates 80s house music, which I don't think gets enough credit for like how good it really is. And then also on top of that too, when I was a little boy, Vanity was just the most beautiful Black woman I've ever seen in my entire life. She's super amazing. She dated Prince at one time or another.
Nice.
Yeah, she just was absolutely, and she's in that movie. She's absolutely gorgeous. And then Julius Carey, who plays Show Nuff, is one of my favorite characters. Who's the master? just nostalgia out the ass. And like I said, just great music from the 80s. And then also the other thing too, a lot of break dancers and stuff like that were in that movie that just were super cool for me. And I don't know, it's one of those movies that brings up a lot of nostalgic feelings. I used to watch it with my cousins all the time, and my cousin used to torture the shit out of me with the "Who's the master? Show enough. Kiss my Converse."
Nice. My number 2 is gonna have to be Bohemian Rhapsody with Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury. I thought that biopic was very well done.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that yet.
It's on
but
HBO
I am a
Max.
fan. Really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Rami Malek, and I'm ready to see him as the new James Bond villain as well.
Yeah. I think you'll like this. I thought it was very well done. Mm-hmm. There were definitely a lot of touching moments, and just his portrayal as Freddie Mercury was just like, oh my God, it was so good. Mm-hmm. So well done. I definitely cannot recommend that movie enough. If you're a Queen fan, absolutely check it out.
Yeah, great. I mean, great soundtrack. You want to talk about soundtracks? I mean, it's Queen. I mean, I can't really think of a song I've been like, oh, that's Queen, whatever, because I'm be honest with you, I'm not really into a lot of those older rock bands. There are some that stick out for me. Obviously, a band like Journey is one of those bands that I absolutely love from the 80s. And Queen is just one of those bands as well too, that just something about what they do was completely different from a lot of artists. Right. I'm sure if I spent some time digging into artists from that era, I'd probably find a few more that I really like. But when it pertains to that style of music in that era, those two bands for me stick out. So my number 1, once again, I am fucking cheating like a motherfucker because I'm grouping in a whole series of movies. But I'm talking overall atmosphere. I'm talking about a complete soundtrack that every part of what they used musically was great. And it's the Mummy series because it was one of the first movies I remember as a kid. I've told this story before. We grew up kind of poor, you know what I'm saying? And actually one of the first movies I actually saw in a movie theater was the 1999 The Mummy movie. I saw it the week it came out. I begged my uncle to take me to go see it because it was just one of those, you see the trailer for it and you're just blown away. Also at the same time too, I think at that age too, I was very obsessed with the Egyptian culture and stuff like that. In my early 20s, I tried to plan a trip to Cairo and quickly realized that the $5.55 an hour I was getting paid was not going to be enough to cover the $3,000 plane ticket and stay and all this other stuff. So hopefully, fingers crossed, one of these days I get a chance to actually go to Egypt and kind of visit there and whatever the case is, which is interesting now that I think about it, is my brother-in-law is Egyptian and me and him are super fucking tight. You know what I'm saying? So he's super fucking cool. Always the coolest dude in the world to me. He's super helpful, always helpful. Just helped me with my car radio. So shout out to Hanny Mansour, bro. I love you, man. But The Mummy is just one of those movies for me. The soundtrack was absolutely amazing when they're mixing things like the Egyptian, I guess the music that they would use in Egypt to some of the action scenes that they use to some of the horror tropes. Because to be honest with you, a lot of people probably view The Mummy more as like an action movie, but the elements of horror are still there. They're still very prevalent. And that first movie was probably a lot darker than any of the other movies where they kind of focused more on the action side of what they were doing and stuff like that. The big grandeur set pieces. But that, just one of those movies that they, for whatever reason, know how to fit their music. And The Mummy Returns has a song written by the band live, which once again, I'm not into that style of music, but for whatever it is, I love this song. I think it's called Forever May Not Be Long Enough. And he hits this absolutely ear-piercing high that just is absolutely amazing. And it has like elements of the movie and sort of kind of their sound. But like I said, I'm not like a huge fan of that, but for whatever reason, that song, a banger to me. It's just amazing.
I've got to say my number one is, and I got a story for this too, is Mark Wahlberg's Rockstar movie.
I was almost putting that at 5. I'm not even gonna lie. I was almost putting that at 5.
I have a very fond memory of seeing this movie. It was back in high school. With Cody Place and I, we both went to high school together, like I said in the previous episode. Mm-hmm. Him and I believe his dad, we all went to a double feature, and we saw Hearts in Atlantis, which was Anthony Hopkins movie, and Rockstar. I don't remember much from the Anthony Hopkins movie, but I do remember seeing Rockstar and just being blown away by the soundtrack. Some of the guys, the stars in the movie. I mean, fucking Zach Wilde was in the movie. Exactly. Miles Kennedy was in the movie. Yes. Like, oh, so well done, and just gave you like a real in-depth look at like how 80s rock music was for like hair metal bands like back in the day, just like all those the partying, the sex, the drugs, the alcohol. Like I was almost thinking of like picking The Dirt as one of my movies, but I was just like, nah, I feel like there was more to tell in that movie. Yeah. You know, so it wasn't really one of my picks. I did like the whole like aspect of like Motley Crue and their journey and stuff like that. But I felt like I had more of a connection with Rockstar, and just some of the songs alone, like We All Die Young is like one of my favorite songs off that soundtrack from Steel Dragon. And then like at the end of the movie when he was playing his like I guess 90s band with like his old guitarist or whatever, they had a song called Colorful by the Verve Pipe, I think that was the name of the band from the soundtrack. It was just so well done. But that's definitely my favorite rock movie, I feel like.
Yeah, man. And it's once again, it's another commentary piece. You had a faceless band that nobody really knew, but you had well-known artists that were playing these band members, which I think is kind of awesome. But it also is a commentary piece onto that lifestyle, how a lot of these guys, especially during that time, you were making music, but you were more into making the gimmick work. You know what I'm saying? Like they made him have the British accent and, you know, say the stupid shit that he said. I eat lots of pussy, you know, whatever he was talking about. Yeah. You know, to get his voice to sound like that, whatever the case is. But it is a commentary on the fact that those guys were more trying to live the gimmick than they were trying to actually, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, it happens that way. And you saw the repercussions of like the manager who was getting the blood transfusion and whatever the case is. And I don't know, just some of that stuff. While that is a really good movie, also at the same time, you kind of see the sadness in it all. Right. You know? And because even when he got the success and then towards the end of the movie, he realized
to take a piss. Yeah.
Yeah. He just, okay, man. You know, but still a good soundtrack. Yeah. Still a good soundtrack. Yeah. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Bow, wow, wow. Yeah. Exactly. And those, oh man, those set pieces though.
I
Let's talk about
know.
that was a really, really good, like, especially during those tours and stuff like that. And then him eating shit on the stairs and
Oh
still
yeah, the
getting
first
up and,
show. Yeah. You
ah,
want
man.
blood? Like just screaming out. Like,
So all right, so now this one makes me want to bring up another topic when we're talking
Okay.
about playing in music. Playing in music. What's your most embarrassing moment on stage?
oh God. My God, my brain is still trying to wake up.
Sorry.
You go first. You go first.
Okay, so one time, and this is for my people in Florida, I was playing a venue called the Murray Hill Theater. It's an old school house opera theater that they change into more of like a Christian based venue where a lot of people who, you know, are religious, you know, a lot of bands that play there, you know, bands like The Devil Wears Prada and stuff like that. As of recently, they've kind of loosened up some of their things. They just don't want you talking negatively about religion or anything like that. So at this venue, in the front of the stage, there are large PA speakers. Okay. So you can kind of step out onto these large PA speakers. Well, one time, I was filling in for a friend of mine's band. Yeah. And my leg snagged, fell, and I fell right behind one of these speakers.
Oh God.
But I was still singing. I was still screaming. And you couldn't see me, but you could hear me. You could hear me behind the speakers, just continuing the song like nothing ever happened. And people trying to grab me from behind said speaker because I was still singing, I was still performing, but yeah, my foot just slipped and I slipped right down in there.
Oh no.
And I was a whole magic trick. I disappeared right behind these speakers, man.
Oh God.
But
sorry.
yeah, it happens. It happens. And then the only thing closer to that is I was playing the skate park of Tampa. There was a small venue there that it could fit maybe 20 people. It looked like a room closet. Maybe fit like 20 people, but it looked like the place was sold out. So one time I was swinging a swinging microphone. I busted the mesh grill on it. And when I swung the microphone to swing it back into my hand, the mesh that was sticking out stuck in my finger. I pulled it out, and once I pulled it out, blood sprayed across the stage like a fucking rainbow of blood. And I just remember the guy that was doing lights. He's like, "Did you fucking cut your finger?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, it's still bleeding." And I'm over here like trying to stop it from bleeding because it was like profusely bleeding. So he finally got me like a wrap to wrap my finger and whatever the case is. But yeah, it was a beautiful night to not catch a bloodborne transmission of anything.
I don't remember what show it was.
Mhm.
This is how far my brain is just so fried. But I do remember an In the Red show, and it might have been a local venue, but I shouted out, like, you know, when you get over the mic, like, "What's up, blah blah blah," like, "We're in the red, how y'all doing tonight?"
Exactly.
I
Get
shouted
'em
out the
pumped.
wrong club. I don't remember what club we were playing, but I do
yeah.
remember this story, and I just remember looking over to my guitarist, and he was like, "Wrong venue," and I'm like, "Oh shit." Because at that time we were like going strong, like we were playing like every other weekend, you know what I mean? And between
Brain's
work,
fried.
brain is fried, work, practice, recording, shit, playing out, like I was just so fried, and I just was like, "What's up, blah blah blah, we're in the red," and I'm just like, "That's not the right venue." Fuck.
No, see, I don't think
You
I've
see
made
a couple
that.
people in the crowd laughing too, and like, yeah, we get it. Like,
Yeah, yeah, you're not here. That reminds me of somebody did that before, and they were like, "You're not in that city" or something like that, and it was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So sometimes I remember, I was always fearful of that, so I would always stick to states because at least you know you knew what state you were in.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Or what do you call it? I don't think I've ever gotten the club wrong, but I've gotten the time of day wrong. I'm like, how you guys doing tonight? And it's like 2:45 in the afternoon. You're just like, I mean, this afternoon, this evening.
I never shout that out. Like, how y'all doing this afternoon? It just sounds dumb. Like, whatever.
It just is one of those things. I remember when we played my old band played The Music as a Weapon, and I was like, how you guys doing tonight? And it was like 1:30 in the afternoon or today. And that's exactly how I said it on the microphone. I'm sure whatever person was just like, you guys are fucking idiots. Anyway,
They're all hammered by then, fucking, drink it out in the parking lot. Woo!
Love it. It was a good time though. Good time.
Oh yeah, dude. Let's talk a little bit about Twitch a little bit. I know you've been kind of taking a break from it, but you do have a Twitch channel,
Yes,
twitch.tv/hope_prevails. And then I have I have my Twitch
channel. You gotta
channel.
forget the underscore.
Yep, I got it.
No worries, sir.
Yeah. Oh, is there one at the end too?
Yeah, there's an underscore at the end. Yeah.
Gotcha.
No worries.
And then I got mine, twitch.tv/JRBuckleGaming. But
which is just a whole beast out here.
Trying. But so what's going on with Twitch? I know you said you were kind of taking a break from it, but you're playing the new Resident Evil game. You should be streaming that. Come on, man. Like,
well, for me, sometimes it's difficult because I'm first of all, if anybody can't tell, I like to talk a lot, and a lot more times than not, I like to talk myself into a corner, and I think sometimes you
that's
get
hilarious.
Yeah. I think sometimes when you play a particular game, like I was doing Resident Evil 7 for a little while, which is an absolutely fun game. Now that I got a PlayStation VR headset, it is infinitely better as a game because it immerses you even more in the game, which I guess maybe I should give that a try with the whole VR headset because it's just kind of cool, but then again, people looking at me just being like, his fucking head's just moving all over the place and whatever, because one of the tricks that I learned with the VR headset, if you aim your head at whatever you're trying to shoot at, you shoot better, a lot better, and you can kind of clear things. But for me, it's just kind of hard, man. Time is just definitely the big issue, man. Once again, wife, kids, like I want to make time for that stuff, but also at the same time, I've got to make time for that stuff as well too.
Right.
The family and stuff like that. And even though I just got Resident Evil 8, which I'm sure someone will insert Lady Dimitrescu meme somewhere about her thickness and height, because that seems to be the whole thing. Capcom, they didn't want to only just give you a horror game. They wanted to turn you on as well too, apparently.
I don't know if my sound effects are getting picked up at all, but No. There we go.
But it's I don't know, I don't really know when I'll get time for this. Also, the other thing too is a lot more times, if anybody can't tell by looking at the video here, this is my kitchen. I don't really have a formal studio, so that's another thing that kind of, when I'm doing this kind of stuff, it's in the common area of where my family is. So a lot more times than not, I can't just be like, hey, get out of here. It's like, but we're hungry, we want a snack, Dad. You know what I'm saying? Or my wife's just like, I don't really care. I'm just going to walk right through this. But yeah, no, that's the other thing too. That's why we're also looking towards the houses, man, just trying to get into a better situation. Two, also, trying to have a little area for ourselves. My wife's really into makeup and stuff like that. If you go into our room, it's kind of well split between her clothes and her makeup. But I want her to have her own space, and she wants me to have my own space to be able to do what I do here. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'll get back to it. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Even though I'm really, really enjoying this new Resident Evil game, which is cool. And then plus I just got a PlayStation camera too. So that might make it a little easier to stream, but the audio quality is probably going to be trash. Trash. But yeah, no, it was fun when I did do it. Just don't know when I think I'll get back to it. Just time, man. That's all it is. Time and
just
having that ability.
Give him a follow in the meantime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he'll pop up one of these days. But yeah, man. Like I hear you, man. Like last night, for instance, I got home from work and I told my friends that I usually game with, I'm like, I am not streaming tonight. I need a break. I'm running on a couple hours of sleep. Like, it is what it is. Like, it's not going to hurt my affiliate status at all unless I go missing for like 2 months. But, other than that, like, I was just like, I am burned out. I need to rest.
You're pretty consistent, man. So I'll say that you're pretty consistent. You're on when you're supposed to, when you say you're going to be on. So I think if anybody needs to be checking out anybody's channel, it should be yours, man, because you do a hell of a job, man.
Oh, thank you.
Everything from your art stuff and not just your gaming stuff. Your art stuff's pretty awesome as well too.
Thanks, man.
So you do a pretty good job of doing that stuff too. So, but like I said, man, for me, the time is just the issue, man. I wish I had more time to do that stuff, you know.
I hear you, man, and like I can't wait until next week. Like by the time this episode comes out, like I'm already gonna be well into this series. But the Mass Effect Legendary Edition series drops next week on the 14th. All 3 games, $60.
Oh wow. Damn, that's not bad.
Yeah, dude. Like, I really think you would dig this series a lot. It's a very sci-fi thing, but it's also like you choose your own ending kind of thing. Like, whatever choices you make affect how the rest of the games are going to go. And there's a lot of like dark shit going on. There's like indoctrinated people that look like fucking zombies and alien looking zombies and shit. Like, it's pretty good. Like, it's a really, really good story. There's a lot going on, and I can't wait to just dive right back into it and just see all the changes they made, like visually, because this game is pretty old, but they updated it. And now that it's going to get a Mass Effect 4 down the road was announced, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, fucking Andromeda was garbage. Yeah, we're going to be diving into that, and I just can't wait to just get immersed into that world again. And then, you know, I do gaming with friends on the weekends, like between like Jackbox. We've been playing some new game. I forget what it's called. It's called like Phone something or other, but it's basically like you're drawing something, and then the other person has to guess what you drew, and then from there another person has to guess what the hell they just typed and draw that out. So it's just like you're building this whole story off of one answer, and it's just so funny. And then I've been doing a lot of D&D on Sundays, like once a month with some friends. And I've never played D&D in my life before. So this has been like my first campaign ever, and it's going hilariously well. Like I tried, we walked into like some windmill or something like that, like where this old woman had like cookies, but they were like made out of the bones of children, and like I pulled out my sword and I immediately went after her because I was like, you witch. Like, I tried attacking her, I got my ass handed to me, and I was basically in prison for like a whole game. Like
the bone cookies. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Of children. Oh, that's absolutely fucking amazing, man. No, I mean, you know, like I'm like I said, I wish I could do stuff like that, man. But like, yeah, it's just, you know, like I remember playing D&D when it was just paper, and you just kind of like you rolled your dice and whatever the case is. In lunchtime, you know, I had a group of friends that we used to play it in high school. And man, talk about getting in, you know, people making fun of us. You guys playing that game that you don't really see what the hell's going on. You guys look like a bunch of nerds. And it's just like, you know, and we were so immersed in our worlds. And I think I had like a knight or something like that. And I called him like Phoenix or something crazy like that. Cause you know, I'm on top of making great names.
Right.
So it was, that's an interesting experience. I wish I could get back into stuff like that. Maybe I should get my kids into doing stuff like that.
It's fun. It's really a lot of fun.
My son would be into it for sure.
I'm having fun. I've been playing with my buddy Mike Castro. He's our DM, and Chris Millay. He's working on a game himself that he already invited me to. So I'm like, hell yeah, dude! Cool. Like, I would be totally down for that. Yeah, I'm starting to get more like comfortable with it, because at first I was just like, I'm just a ranger. They're like, yeah, what's your background? I'm like, I have to have a background. Like, what?
I gotta create a story.
I'm like, I don't fucking know. Like, I'm an alcoholic with PTSD. They're like, perfect. I'm like, great. Now I gotta branch off of this and think of stuff that I've been dealing with. Like, you know. So
oh my God, yeah.
But I enjoy dank memes, and like they're like, what the hell's a dank meme? I'm like, you did not see this poster outside of a woman yelling at a cat? Like, you know? And then my buddy, the DM, he's like, I fucking hate you right now. Like,
oh my God. And I think my son would be kind of good at these games. He plays games like Monster Hunter, so I feel like he would be able to come up with like a little character. But I feel like his character would just escalate everything that he has. He's just like, no, you can't do that because I've got the dragon's blood of whatever omens of centerites and all that other stuff. So, but
anyway.
No, it is what it is, man. But for sure.
I think we were gonna have to wrap it up, man. We've been
Yes,
well
sir.
over an hour, and plus I had that little break to go check out my Instacart and get my
Oh
food.
yeah, no,
but,
my wife's waiting on me.
yeah. So let's wrap it up. Blue, this was awesome. Thank you for
As always.
coming back on and for allowing me back on your show as well. This has been the crossover.
Yes, man, I appreciate it, and I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate anybody who listens to this show, man, who listens to AJ show. We greatly appreciate you guys. Follow AJ at all his amazing social medias and Twitch streaming and stuff like that. JR Buckle, man, he's doing some fucking awesome things over there, man.
Yeah, why don't we plug real quick before we finish up here? Like, you plug your show, I'll plug my show, and then we'll just end it there.
So check me out, Blue Presents a Podcast, on Facebook and Twitter at Blue Presents a Podcast. Actually, Twitter, it's Podcast of Blue. Facebook and Instagram, it's Blue Presents a Podcast. And also, when I get back to it, Twitch, hope_prevails_. And then also, the studio project that I'm starting already has a page. It has a song that we released over 2 or 3 years ago. The song's called Charlotte. So check out Misery Chord, spelled MISERICORD. Because I know people would put like chord as in like CHORD. But Misery Chord. We're going to get ready to start releasing some stuff. And like I said, hopefully this will be dropping in June. So I'm hoping July, August to have this new single up.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Is that it, or?
Yeah, no, that's it.
All right, awesome. I want to thank everybody for watching the show. If you're watching on YouTube, hello, how are you? Please leave a like, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to get notified every time we drop a new video. Leave a comment. If you're listening on audio, we are available on all major podcast networks. So hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend. I'd appreciate it. Leave a review, please. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. I'd be happy to read it on the show. I actually have a review right here. Let me pull it out real quick.
Who's the awesome person who left
let's
that?
See. Give me 1 second, but I should have been more prepared. But here we go. This comes from Bob. I am a fan of your podcast, man. It's really well done. You're a damn good host. I've listened to a lot of pods, and many hosts talk too much about themselves or don't pay attention to their guests. You don't. You do the best thing I could tell anyone interviewing. Let the guests do the talking. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Bob. I appreciate that, man.
Shout out to Bob being awesome.
You can also join the Facebook group. Facebook is facebook.com/roads we've traveled. RWT Pod on Instagram and Twitter. The Facebook group is the Roads We've Traveled Road Trippers group. Be sure to check that out and join if you want some positivity in your life, instead of all the other bullshit that's going on the internet. You can email the show at roadswe'vetraveledpodcast@gmail.com. Again, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/JRBuckleGaming. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights. And you can check out my portfolio at www.alanmpelletierjr.com. All right, Blue, I'm done.
All right, man. Yeah, man.
This was awesome, man. Thank you so much.
No, as always, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate your spirit, and I appreciate your friendship, brother.
Hell yeah, dude. We'll have to talk more about whatever project you and I are talking about together. So hell yeah, dude.
Evil smile.
Keep it locked.
All right.
Bye.